Good afternoon. Welcome to Sports Nothing But Sports with Kent Sterling for Thursday, September 19th, 2019. Brought to you by the great people at Today's Dentistry. Dr. Mike O'Neill's just the best. That's all there is to it. Call and become their next new patient at Today's Dentistry. 317-849-2933. I did it 25 years ago. I've never turned back. We are at the Indiana Farm Bureau Football Center where the Colts do their business. They're practicing right now. We got to see part of it today. You know what? What did we see? Guys who didn't practice. We did not see Darius Leonard. Jabal Sheard was out on the sideline. He was pulling somebody around with some kind of elastic rope, and he yanked it right out of the person's hands. So he looks to be pretty solid. It looked like somebody taking a Great Dane for a walk. That's what it looked like. Pierre Desir looked to be full go. So there you go. There's your injury update. We did not see Adam Vinatieri kick during the portion of practice that we got to see. Sunday's game, 1 o'clock against the Falcons. You know what you got to do if you want to stop the Falcons. You got to stop Matt Ryan from throwing the ball deep. Julio Jones is a deep threat. They've got deep threats. They're all over the place, and they love airing it out. So if you can do that, if you can keep the lid on that offense, you got a real chance to beat the Falcons. I think Malik Hooker is an absolute key to the success of the Indianapolis Colts. We heard from the coordinators. Matt Eberflus on the defensive side of the ball, Nick Sirianni on the offense. Nick Sirianni was asked first about red zone efficiency.
First, it starts with Jacoby and just making the right read and the right throw and an accurate throw. So he's done an excellent job down there, and our guys have done a great job of getting open when they need to get open on their guys, and finding zones when they've needed to find zones. For example, T.Y. found a zone in in Los Angeles with the Chargers, and Paris ran away from his guy. So it's a combination of Jacoby making accurate throws and going the right place with the ball, and the receivers and the tight ends and the running backs executing.
The field shrinking is obviously maybe the biggest challenge there. What else is notable about red zone plays that you don't really have to deal with otherwise?
Yeah, you want to be usually teams in the red zone. Play what they play, and you want to have good staples that have answers versus everything, because we know when you're good in red zone, teams change it up on you a little bit. So we just want to have staples that are good versus everything, and it's just getting those reps over and over again, and then just finding your playmakers to make plays, and I think that's what we've done, and our guys that make plays, they've done it in the red zone.
I think it's a small sample size of 2 games, but all that you've done efficiency-wise, the chunk plays aren't there, haven't been there. Mm-hmm. How do you balance needing them without force of the issue?
Sure. We always want to take what the defense gives us. We're not shy about saying that. We want to take what the defense gives us, but we also know how important, protecting the football is and how important chunk plays are. And we definitely want to create chunk plays. And hats off to the defenses that we played against. They've limited us in that, but that's always an important step for us to create chunk plays and create explosive plays, because we know that helps lead to victories and points and all that stuff.
And I know, speaking of taking what the defense gives you, more rushing yards than passing yards in the first 2 games. Is that what the defense is giving you, or do you believe that you guys truly can be more run-oriented than passing the ball?
I think it's definitely the first one of what the defense is giving us, but we're riding the hot hand of what we think. Our offense line's playing great, our running backs are running great, our tight ends are blocking well, and our wide receivers are blocking well. So when you get that hot hand, you tend to ride it a little bit, and so the guys that we've really tried to ride our offensive line because we felt like they've been dominant up front.
What makes this offensive line so good, so unique, so talented from an offensive coordinator's view?
Yeah, they're smart. I think it starts with that. They're really smart. They're a really smart group. They are physical. They're really physical. They all love football. I don't think there's not one of those guys on that offensive line that doesn't love football. So I think that's a good combination right there to have 5 guys, and our backups that all have that trait of loving football and smart and tough and physical. I mean, they're tough. This is a tough group. It's a tough group of guys, and I look forward to every time they come off the field, and I'm slapping 5 with Ryan Kelly, and his blood gets all over me, and I'm slapping 5 with Q, and I'm a mess after it. But I look forward to that stuff with those guys, and I just love their toughness.
You obviously were, I'm going to say San Diego because you were in San Diego at the time. You had Phillip Rivers, you had Andrew Luck last year. Jack Doyle said, he even said, I mean, we all know Jack's a pretty quiet guy. He said it's even kind of weird that, you guys would run the ball more than you kind of pass the ball and stuff. I mean, in the long term, it seems like what you guys are doing now could impact you come December, November, when
Sure.
the changes.
Well, we've always wanted to be able to run the football effectively, and I mean that's never been what we've always wanted to be in that mode of a top 5 rush or run offense, and that's still the goal. It's been the goal since ever since Frank and I have been working together with the Chargers. Whatever situation occurs, though, we're always going to do what's best to win the football game. So it's just we felt like the last couple of weeks that's been the best mode of attack.
It's kind of funny because the media complains if you're not running the ball well, but is 147 yards or passing, that's not sustainable, is it? I mean, you can't, over the course of the season, you have to throw the ball. Sure.
Yeah, we know games come down to being able to execute and being able to execute in the pass game also as the run game. You have to be balanced. That you're 100% right. And you know what? I believe that these last 2 games we've showed we could do it. The last drive of the Charger game, we methodically moved the ball down the field passing it. The last drive of the last game we played, right, or the second to last drive, we had a big run and then we threw it in. So yeah, you're gonna, if you're one-dimensional in anything that you do, I think that's an issue. So we know we have to be top-notch in both areas to get to accomplish our goals.
Has some of it been the secondaries you face? The Chargers and Titans both pretty deep in talent.
Yeah, I just think that we were running the ball well, and we just kept looking to run, get more runs in. And hats off to the Chargers and the Titans secondary. It wasn't that we were nervous about them, or it was just strictly, hey, we thought the opportunities to run the football were there, and we did that.
Nick, any clarification on the clapping penalty from Jacoby?
Yeah, Coach Reich's handling that with the officials, so yeah, I'll be told on that later.
Is that an emphasis this season, or like what? Is it aggressive?
I think it's from some other things that are happening. I really don't know. I think it's some other things that are happening around the league. Where some other teams are trying to clap to draw the team off sides, where we're truly just trying to clap to get the ball snapped. So I think Coach and the head of officials is getting that sorted out.
And the clapping, I mean, is that a matter of crowd noise, or what is it?
Yeah, it's just
you can hear it, or is it visual? Or?
Well, I think we studies show that the clapping can be heard through crowd noise. So Ryan's snapping the ball, he may be looking at the defense, he might not be looking yet, and if Jacoby's looking at the play clock to, hey, I need that ball, and so I don't know, we think that you can hear that a little bit better, and hey, so snap it to me. So that's why we do it.
Works.
Yeah.
You guys talked about all 53 and everybody has to produce. Did Jordan Wilkins kind of epitomize that on Sunday?
Yeah, you know what, though? We've always anticipated Jordan being able to produce. He produced for us last year. He did some good things last year. It was just nice to have him back, to be able to spell Marlon and Naheem and be able to get some good carries in. And he took advantage of the carries he had. When it's a hot day like it was on Sunday, it's going to, in any day, it's going to take all 53, and it takes all 53 throughout the week of practice to get ourselves ready. But he had an opportunity. Marlon came out, and he had an opportunity to go in, and he made the most of it.
4th and 1 call at the end there. I mean, I'm sure there's no hesitancy on the sideline. I mean, when You got Clinton and Ryan up there. What did you think of going into that?
Yeah, I was excited to give our offense another chance to get the first down. I love Frank's call there. 100% agreed with the call, and I thought it was really good, and it gave us an opportunity to take all the Titans timeouts away. So yeah, I thought it was an awesome call by our head coach, and it really worked for us.
How do you guys feel about the protection on Sunday?
Yeah, we thought it was pretty good. We thought there were parts that you take a couple hits, and whether that's on a one-on-one individual mismatch, a loss, or Jacoby holding the ball too long, or a receiver not getting open, those are going to happen. But I thought overall it was good. I thought it was overall good protection for the day. And again, some of the ones where you see Jacoby scramble is not always a sign of that the protection broke down. It's that maybe we didn't have the right call on offense to take advantage of nobody was open, whether we didn't have the right call on or a guy didn't win, and then Jacoby just scrambled with it. So, and he did a heck of a job on that, picking up a couple key first downs with his legs, and that's a good addition to have. He's making smart decisions, he's throwing the ball accurately, and he has the ability to improvise, which is huge.
All right, that's Nick Sirianni, the offensive coordinator of the Colts. Next, we heard from the defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus, and he was asked about Khari Willis, whether they knew when they got Khari Willis that he was going to be this good this quick.
Yeah, during the evaluation process, when he was at Michigan State, we saw a lot of good things from him in terms of his quickness, his ability to play different spots, his adaptability, and just his functional intelligence that we got from the staff there, and then we also just saw on tape. So his ability to do different things at different spots is really good, and then his instincts are also very good. So we've seen those things on tape this year so far, and he's continuing to grow.
In the fourth quarter on Sunday, it didn't seem like you guys did anything special, anything exotic. You didn't have to dial anything up. Did you have to tell you guys anything? They needed 3 or 4.
Yeah, so during that situation, we had this situation in the fourth quarter of the week before, and going into that situation and also this situation. So they're two different situations. So we talked to them about, obviously, what's going to be the time, what's the field position, how many timeouts do they have, and then what are our calls. And then what are the potential calls as it gets down there tight, in terms of time and space. And that's what we talked to them about. And everybody knows exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it. And they all should know the calls and why we're making those calls. So that's just what we did on the sideline. That's what we always do. And it turned out well for us last week.
One other follow-up on Khari. You made a couple of tackles in space that were big for you. I think you got one on the third down in particular. Just what's tough about those types of plays, and just why is he good?
Yeah, I think a lot of that's his natural abilities. I think reading his keys certainly helps out. That's part of coaching and him taking the coaching, but also his natural abilities lend to that. A space player that's quick, that can close space, that's instinctual, and then the technique and desire of tackling. The technique of getting his pads down low and wrapping through the hips and driving his feet. And those are all things that were shown on that play.
Matt, how much extra focus goes into a guy like Julio Jones this week, or do you alter anything in trying to neutralize his ability?
I just think every week there's always issues. When you're on defense or offense, you're trying to block a certain rusher, or you're trying to take care of this certain linebacker or this cover guy, or on defense you're trying to do the opposite. You got this receiver or tight end matchup that you're worried about. And I think it's always that, and that's what we do as coaches here the last 48 hours. We try to figure out how to set ourselves up to best defend what they have. And when we do that week to week, it still comes down to setting up your defense the right way and also playing fundamentally sound so you're sound in other areas too. So you got to make sure there's a delicate balance there.
What changed for Danico Autry this week?
I just think that he's had a great week of practice, and I don't know if anything changed. I just think that he's grinding. He's just going through the season. You have one game under your belt and go to the next game, evaluate what you did good, what you did well and evaluate what you need to improve and work on that during the week with your coach. Set the drills up that way and then work on it during the reps in practice. And I think that's what he did, and he needs to continue to do that. Every position needs to continue to improve. We're early into the season, and I think every unit, every individual has to continue to improve during the course of the year so we get better as a team.
Were you happy with the success you had rushing 4 on Sunday, not having to go after the quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, you're always looking at different disguises, different looks, different pressures. Rushing, from 3 to 7 guys. I mean, that's defensive ball, but I think that when you can get pressure with your front 4, I think that's helpful. Add more guys in coverage, and we did multiple things in that game in terms of rush games and rush plan and all those things. So I think it turns out well, and Mike Fair and is doing a nice job with the defensive line in that regard. So we just got to keep that up.
Not knowing Darius's status for Sunday, what have you seen from Okereke if he has to play more or start to give you some comfort or whatever? Yeah,
Bobby's been progressing along like the rest of the rookies. They're all working day by day to get better, and I can see that in Bobby. He's maturing, as we go. He's a mature competitor to start, and that's why we brought him in. And he's continued to improve on his day-to-day operation, and then his making plays in practice. Because if you're making plays in practice, you're going to make them in the game, and that's what he's doing.
Is he working more Mike or Will or both in practice?
He's been working both. He's been working both spots during the course of the whole time. He's been working mostly Mike, but we've had him at various spots in walkthroughs and also in practice sometimes.
Just for instances like this because you don't know, or
Well, that goes back to the whole thing about a pair and a spare. You have every spot, the Mike, the Will, and the Sam have 2 guys that operate there, and then a third guy that can operate as well. And we're always looking at that in our depth chart, in terms of Mike, Will, or Sam, defensive end, safety at all spots.
Matt, what was your evaluation of Taekwon coming off? He was inactive the first week and then got a lot of practice and then got to play, I think, 30-some snaps.
Yeah, I think he's just just that. I think that's a great statement by you. I just think that's what it is. He just really was working during practice and understanding how he's going to play in the game. Different spots we're going to move him to, and he's going to continue to do that. Whenever you're the 7th or 8th or 6th or 7th or 4th, not the top 1 or 2 guys, you're going to have to move around, and we're going to move around everybody. They're all going to have to play along the line to get the best matchup and the best pass rush we can get, and we're going to continue to do that.
Hey, man, what's it like for your defensive line to go against your offensive line in practice? Justin was saying after the game that, when you have what he thinks is a top 2 or 3 offensive line, the battles in practice are pretty intense.
Yeah, the one-on-one battles that you have, because we do a thing called pods, and the pods are where the offensive line goes against, when we're in pads, go against the defensive line. They just do run blocking. They just do double blocking, zone blocking, and just basic blocking. And that's where you learn how to take on a double team. That's where you learn how to take on a push scoop and all the different block combinations that you have. And that drill is invaluable during the course of training camp and this time of year. And then you get the one-on-one pass rush. Then you get to go against all the guys there. One-on-one pass rush. So to have the talent level that we have on the offensive line and the character that we have there is just makes our defensive line that much better.
When you talk those one-on-one matchups, is Autry and Nelson maybe the main card, if you will?
It's a good card. It's a good card.
What kind of start has Malik Hooker had to the season? Seems like he's been in all out plays so far.
Yeah, Malik's been consistent in his play so far, and that goes back to the comment I made last week. His consistency in practice. He's working in practice and taking the grind every day of focusing in meetings, taking it to the practice, making plays in practice, continuing his focus throughout the week all the way through Saturday, and then taking it to the game on Sunday. So his preparation is just starting to show up on Sunday, and he's been doing that all the way through, and he's just got to continue to be consistent that way and put his best foot forward.
What role does experience play in that? Third-year player now, see things quicker, or I don't know, is there any of that?
Yeah, I think it's in every walk of life. I think experience, there's no substitute for experience. And as you do something over and over again, you look back and say, you know what, I'd have probably done that a little bit differently. I'd have done it better, and what can I do better moving forward? And that's what we did for last week. Last week is over. We looked at last week's performance. There's a lot of things we got to clean up, a lot of things we got to work on, and it's in an individual basis like Malik or anybody else. What did you learn from that performance, and what are we going to do this week to improve on those things?
What goes through your mind when Frank goes forward on 4th and 1 with a 2-point lead inside your own territory? Because your job, if things don't go well, it could get pretty hard at that point.
Yeah, just trust. You just trust everybody. Trust the system that we have, and just trust your head coach, and then go for it, and then just back everything up. That if something happens, we got a sudden change. We got to stop them, and that's just what we do.
I think of Rock and Quincy once Pierre went down, and if Pierre has to miss some time, how confident you got those guys to?
Yeah, I thought Quincy did a nice job coming in. We were just talking about that when we watched the tape all together as a defense. The ability for him to come in there and just be him. And play with good technique and good poise, and function in there and not miss a beat. And he did an excellent job.
Has he handled the change from maybe playing a little bit less here in the first part well?
Yeah, Quincy's a really good pro, and he's a mature competitor like a lot of our guys are, and he understands that. Hey, and when he's competing for spots, but he understands at a minute's notice I could be in there playing, and that's what he did. And his attitude has been excellent and outstanding. In terms of his work habits, of how he's working and what he's doing on the practice field, and that showed up right here last week, and that's all based on his attitude.
Last question. Frank mentioned yesterday maybe a little bit more practice time for Jabal this week. What have you guys missed the most in not having him out there?
Yeah, Jabal's just a good player. He's a solid pro. In terms of just his work habits, what he does. He works with the best of them, and he outworks. He'll try to outwork everybody, and in most cases will, and that's what he brings to the table. And then his experience. And his attitude in the room is what we miss the most. He's just a great pro, and we're excited to get him back.
That's Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator at the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts game on Sunday, 1 o'clock on CBS if you're not going down to the game. If you are going down to the game, I guarantee you that the roof is going to be closed. All right? There is no chance that the roof is going to be open. It is either going to be rainy, hot, or they're just going to want perfect conditions for Adam Vinatieri. One of those three things, or all of those three things, will drive that decision. IU plays Connecticut. That coming up this weekend. Indiana, 27-point favorite. I don't know what you do with us. Indiana's a 27-point favorite, right? Reflexively, you're like, no. I'm taking the dog. I'm taking UConn. But you know what? They beat Eastern Illinois by 50-plus points, so maybe that's just who they are. A team that's going to get their asses waxed by a really good team, and a team that's going to pummel somebody who's not very good. UConn, they were beaten by Illinois. It was a 10, 11-point game. I don't know what's going to happen this Saturday. I was certain what was going to happen last week. I have no idea what's going to happen this week. Tomorrow morning, breakfast with Kent. Holy cow, are we going to have a great time. All kinds of fun previewing the weekend sports activities. Cannot wait. We'll do that from Prairie View Golf Club tomorrow, as I've got a golf event to take part in at 8:30, celebrating the pending nuptials of the great Kyle, the Truth Miller. So look for that tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock on Facebook Live. Maybe a little bit earlier than that, and just after that on Periscope Live. Can't wait to talk to you then. Brought to you by the great people at Today's Dentistry. You know what? Call them. 317-849-2933. Join me tomorrow morning at 8.